Please be seated. As the 10th president of Randolph College, I am honored to welcome the members of the class of 2022, their families and friends, to commencement at Randolph College and to declare these exercises to be officially opened. From the hallowed halls of this great college have come many leaders who help make a difference in their communities, their nation, and indeed the world. Since our humble beginnings in 1891 as Randolph-Macon Women's College, we have never shied away from our commitment to providing a uniquely personalized education in the liberal arts that prepares students to engage the world critically and creatively, live and work honorably, and to experience life abundantly. Today, we add these women and men of the class of 2022 before me to the list of graduates who are leaving this college prepared to reach extraordinary levels of achievement. Now it is my pleasure to introduce this year's commencement speaker. Roosevelt Montas is one of the nation's leading experts on the history, meaning, and future of liberal arts education. The liberal arts is at the forefront of everything we do here at Randolph, and I am honored to welcome him here today. A senior lecturer in American Studies and English at Columbia University, Dr. Montas was born in the Dominican Republic before moving to New York as a young man. He entered Columbia University in 1991 through its opportunity programs. He completed his PhD in English at Columbia, during which time he received the Presidential Award for Outstanding Teaching by a graduate student. He specializes in antebellum American literature and culture with a particular interest in American citizenship. In his dissertation, Rethinking America, Abolitionism and the Antebellum Transformation of the Discourse of National Identity, won Columbia's 2004 Bancroft Award. Dr. Montas was director of Columbia's Center for the Core Curriculum for 10 years, beginning in 2008, and regularly teaches moral and political philosophy in the Columbia Core Curriculum, as well as seminars in American Studies. He is also director of the Center for American Studies Freedom and Citizenship Program, which brings low-income high school students to the Columbia campus to study political theory and then helps them prepare successful applications to college. His 2021 book, Rescuing Socrates, How the Great Books Changed My Life and Why They Matter for a New Generation, details his experiences as a student and teacher and tells the story of how the, quote, great books transformed his life and why they have the power to speak to people of all backgrounds. Please join me in welcoming Roosevelt Montas to Randolph College.
Good morning. President Bateman, members of the Board of Trustees, distinguished alumni, members of the faculty, members of the administrative staff, family and friends, members of the great Randolph College class of 2022, congratulations. We come together today to celebrate your achievements, which are also the achievements of this institution and the achievements, quite significantly, of the family and friends gathered around you. So before addressing myself to the graduates, I want to single out the families that are here, whose support, encouragement, and investment in each student graduating today has made this occasion possible. Congratulations, families. I find myself wondering, what am I doing here in Lynchburg, Virginia, giving a commencement address at Randolph College. And you should be wondering the same thing. Who is this person? Why is he speaking to me? It's actually a matter of astonishment. I grew up in a mountain village in the Dominican Republic. There is no road map from Cambita Garabitos to Lynchburg, Virginia. Yet here I am. You have your president, Brad Bateman, to thank. Ultimately, the reason why I am here is because, improbable as it is, you and I, he and us, care passionately about some of the same things. For 10 years, I served as director of Columbia University's core curriculum, a 100-year-old program that has been influential in the evolution of liberal education in the United States. What we have in common, and what brings me here today, is a commitment to the values, practices, and vision of liberal arts colleges. For years, I have crisscrossed the country talking about the nature of liberal education and about the imperative, at a time like this, for colleges to take seriously their mission to educate students liberally. That is, to educate students not just for an occupation, but for a way of life, and specifically for a life of democratic freedom. You all chose to attend a liberal arts college. In all likelihood, you came to Randolph to find something that you knew you would probably not find elsewhere. I admire you for that choice. When I applied to college, I knew very little about higher education. I didn't know what a liberal arts college was, nor what a research university was, nor what a liberal education was. I can't help but wonder what it would have taken to get someone like me, a low-income immigrant student, to grasp the meaning of a liberal education in a place like Randolph. And as I posed that question, I realized that making liberal education available to people who have been traditionally denied it is a task of the greatest importance today, and that something fundamental about our national life is at stake in whether liberal education is accessible to all or only to a privileged few. A democracy simply cannot survive without citizens specifically educated for the task of deliberative self-governance. A democracy cannot survive without education in the arts of freedom. Liberal education was invented in a slave society, and there it was distinguished from the kind of education that was appropriate for a servant. What kind of education, the ancients asked, is appropriate for a free citizen, a citizen of a democracy? What do they need in order to participate in the task of self-governance? Today, America's capacity for democracy is being tested to its limits. A flood of information, disinformation, outrage, and mistrust, all dished out by autonomous algorithms optimized for profit, threatens to overwhelm our capacity for democratic coexistence. The work of liberal education has never been more necessary, never more urgent. It's not true that all students want from college is a leg up in the job market. Students long for and deserve an education that addresses their entire humanity, an education that not only teaches them about things, but that teaches them about themselves and transforms them into higher versions of themselves. I know about the transformative power of education. I came to the United States not speaking English 2 days before my 12th birthday. I grew up in a poor rural village in the Dominican Republic, in a house made of palm planks with no television, no stove, no refrigerator, and no phone. My town extended 6 streets in one direction and 4 in the other. My address was Calle 6, Casa 7, the seventh house on the 6th Street. I landed in New York City in 1985 with my older brother to join my mother, who had immigrated 2 years earlier. My mother got, but then lost a minimum wage job, and my brother and I moved into a basement room in the house of a distant relative while my mom fared for herself. I went to the local public school, terrified of the menacing New York City of the 1980s. I was an unlikely candidate for a liberal education. Last year, I published a book that's partly a memoir about how liberal education changed my life. My point here is that when I speak about how a liberal education can illuminate a life and empower one to transform his or her reality, I speak from personal experience. I am sure that many of you, students, faculty, and friends alike, have experienced in your own way the transformative power of education. Today, we celebrate a milestone in the lives of students who have completed the curricular portion of a liberal education. We properly term this occasion commencement because it signals not the end of an education, but its beginning in the broader world beyond the classrooms and dormitories of this campus. The joys of this day are tempered by their valedictory tone. And many of you, no doubt, are beginning to feel that poignant kind of nostalgia one feels for the present as we notice it slipping away. One feels nostalgia already for the present. Today is a day that invites reflection on just what these last 4 years have meant. Some of the questions of this season are deeply personal. What have I learned, really? Who have I become in these years of intense focus, growth, and experience? Who do I want to be? Where am I going? Other questions of the hour are less personal, but no less urgent. What kind of citizen of my community, of my country, of my planet am I to be? What, beyond my private good, has a legitimate claim on my attention and on my energy? The true value of your education comes from its capacity to help you think about these questions. It is what will make these last 4 years decisive, not in what kind of job you do, but in what kind of life you live. A colleague of mine named Andrew Del Banco wrote a book a few years ago about the American college. In it, he discussed a note written in the spring of 1850 by a senior at a small Methodist college here in Virginia. After hearing a lecture by the college president that left him troubled and apprehensive, the young man went back to his room and made the following entry on his journal. Oh, that the Lord would show me how to think and how to choose. This statement, somewhere between a plea and a prayer, is one that I think many of us today feel, and that I would guess those of you who are about to enter a new and expansive stage of your life are feeling with particular poignancy. Oh, that the Lord would show me how to think and how to choose. You have experienced college under unprecedented circumstances. We are not quite yet out of a pandemic that has already claimed 1 million lives in this country alone. A sense of crisis hangs in the air in our domestic politics, in our international relations, and in the fate of our planet. We have entered a period in human civilization of unprecedented instability. We have crossed critical thresholds in artificial intelligence, in gene editing, and in global climate change that cannot be reversed. The only thing we can be sure about is that the future is going to look very different from the past. What is our place? What is your place as the culture's educated elite? And if you are not used to thinking of yourself as the educated elite, you should realize that there is no other, that it is you, and that that is what the rest of the world correctly takes you to be. What does living in this moment in history, in this place in the global civilization, demand of us? What do the better angels of our nature that Lincoln invoked on the eve of the Civil War call upon us to do? How do they enjoin us to live? No one can give you the answers to these questions. Yet, the questions are inescapable. They cannot be evaded. They are the questions of our lives. Today, as I draw your attention to the meaning of your liberal education, I ask you to think seriously about what, beyond your own private good, your education prepares you for. How does a liberal education equip you to face this historical moment? Martin Luther King Jr. famously said that the arc of history is long, but bends towards justice. I like to add that it does not bend by itself. We bend it towards justice. Let not the weight of the questions I have raised this morning dim the brightness of the hour. What we celebrate today is the promise that you represent, the promise of the unique and as of yet unimaginable contributions you will make as you put your shoulders to that arc of history. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Montaz. I now invite our Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, Carl Girelli, to the podium for the conferral of degrees.
Will the candidates for master's degree in coaching and sport leadership please rise? Mr. President, it is with pleasure and affection that I present to you the candidates for the degree of Master of Arts in Coaching and Sport Leadership.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Randolph College and upon the recommendation of the faculty, I hereby confer upon each of you the degree of Master of Arts in Coaching and Sports Leadership and declare you entitled to enjoy all the rights and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations.
The candidates for Masters of Arts in Coaching and Sport Leadership will now be introduced. I'd like to also invite the Chair of our Board of Trustees, Hank Hubbard, and the Master of Arts in Coaching and Sport Leadership Program Director, Megan Halbrook, to the stage to hood each graduate. Devin Gray Bagby. Courtney Irene Betts. Stephen Wayne Birchfield, in absentia. Dana Nicole Cavallo. Megan Jean Chaffins. Zenise Rane Chambers. Haley Renee Franklin, in absentia. Alyssa Jade Gembash. Brianna Darielle Harbison. Brittany Howell. Erin Nicole Ken, in absentia. Leela Lancy Knight. Sarah Josephine Perry. Kylie Shea Reveille. Corey Michael Shank. Kayla Libriana Wilhelm. Please join me in congratulating these master's graduates. Will the candidates for the master's degree in teaching please rise? Mr. President, it is with pleasure and affection that I present to you the candidates for the degree of Masters of Arts in Teaching.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Randolph College and upon the recommendation of the faculty, I hereby confer upon each of you the degree Master of Arts in Teaching and declare you entitled to enjoy all the rights and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations.
The candidates for Master of Arts in Teaching will now be introduced. I'd like again to invite the chair of our Board of Trustees, Hank Hubbard, and this time our Master of Arts in Teaching Program Director, Peggy Schimler, to the stage to hood each graduate. Christopher Jordan Acosta. Kiesia Quanche Carter. Caitlin Elizabeth Coghill. Donald William Doyle. James Austin Greenfield. Charlotte Dunbar Humphreys in absentia. Jackson Roland Jacobs in absentia. Sabrina Johnson. Taylor Ray Murphy. Jennifer Lee Ring. Michaela Marie Saunders. Caleb Joshua Schmitzer. Daniel Frederick Trice in absentia. Please join me in congratulating these master's graduates. Will the candidates for the bachelor degrees please rise? There you are. Mr. President, it is with pleasure and affection that I present to you the candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Fine Arts, and Bachelor of Science, each of whom has completed the requirements of this college.
By virtue of the authority invested in me by the Board of Trustees of Randolph College, and upon the recommendation of the faculty, I hereby confer upon each of you the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Fine Arts, or Bachelor of Science, and declare you entitled to enjoy all the rights and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations. I invite you to move your tassel. Squires, please stand. As a traditional symbol of the conferring of the baccalaureate degree, you may now hood your graduate. Graduates and squires, please be seated. Individual graduates will now be introduced.
Will the first row of baccalaureate degree candidates please stand? Anijah Capri Adams, magna cum laude. Benjamin Aylesworth. Nancy Shrive Alcock, magna cum laude. Paxton Keys Mattern Allen. Zachary Andrew Ayler. Ninfa Corina Amador Hernandez, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Mubashra Ashraf, cum laude. Daisy Giselle Ayala Gomez, cum laude. Hannah Elizabeth Bain. Sarah Catherine Bain. Gladys Ann Hope Banton, in absentia, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Emily Del Valle Barcenas Perez, summa cum laude. Sharon Marquise Bass, Jr. Anna Legere Beliveau. Justin Andrew Bliss. Evan Richard Lowe. Samantha L. Breary. Madison Lee Brown. Emily Larkin Bryant, in absentia, summa cum laude. Joshua Michael Belovko, summa cum laude. Yanessa Marie Cabrera. Gustavo Brian Callahan. Noah Thomas Carney, cum laude. Edward Grayson Carrington. Cassidy Lauren Carter, cum laude. Alejandro Archimedes Castillo Zuleta. Sydney Alexis Clark. Caitlin Noreen Collins. Mackenzie Sinclair Collins. Caitlin Lindsay Cook. Heather Noel Coltis. Nokomis Marla Briones Daniels. James Devin Diaz. Mary Christine Dorman, cum laude. Caroline Canto Doyle. Mason Alexander Dye. Hannah Grace Edwards, magna cum laude. Maya Simone Elliott. Jade Divine Elliott. Haley Lynn Eubank. Jalen Olivia Evans, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude with honors in political science. Alice Marie Fields. Brooklyn Pamela Ford. Fable Griffin Forrest. Madeline Grace Goss. Haley Lane Gilman. Jerry Lee Goodman III. Olivia Mary Grace Green, cum laude. Benjamin Allen Grease. Kyle Michael Grundy, cum laude. Wade Garrett Hall, cum laude. Keith Anderson Harvey. Bland Pendry Hodges, in absentia. Tasia Liney Hunley. Michaela Jewel Jenkins, in absentia. James Tyler Johnson. Kaylee Elizabeth Johnson, magna cum laude. Sean Kyle Johnston. Sierra Marie Johnston. Evan M. Keats. Tiffany Danae Kelly. Kenneth Wayne Kinton Jr., in absentia. Alexander Preston Culvivat. Abriel Ashton Kurtz. Julie Ann Lawback. Olivia B. Layton, Phi Beta Kappa, cum laude. Bailey Marie Livingston. Charles Wayne Loving, Jr. Elijah Andrew Martin. Julianne Dorothea Jean Marks. Kyle Winfield May, cum laude. Molly Sinead McLaughlin. Jacob M. Messenis. Devin Rains Milam, in memoriam. Lamont Shanley Mohabir. Kayla Ann Morris, magna cum laude. Paige Violet Naples, magna cum laude. Delaney Madison Knuckles, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Mark Anthony Patterson, Jr., magna cum laude. Samantha Elizabeth Paulette, magna cum laude. Christopher M. Perez Marino. Ariadne Sharon Pojedinek, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Annalise Victoria Presley, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Seth Robert Pruitt, cum laude. Merlina Redlick, Phi Beta Kappa, magna cum laude. Anna Nicole Reynolds, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Margaret Elizabeth Ritchie, cum laude. Jared Clark Robinson, in absentia. Terrell Dante Rory. Sabina Isabella Sabat, Phi Beta Kappa, summa cum laude. Marissa Aurora Santa Cruz. Alexander Frederick Sauer. Andrew Neil Scales, in absentia. Danielle Quinn Shannon. Charles Samuel Small. Elijah Nathaniel Smith, in absentia. Ryan N. Smith, cum laude. Chantel Scott Spinner, summa cum laude. Michaela Antoinette Stark. Kimberly Annette Steele. Jade Nicole Strausser. Jessica Danielle Stump. Alyssa Nicole Swords. Haley Brianne Thomas. Brianna Jasmine Hawks Thompson. Jalen Trey Thompson. Garrett Blake Toms, summa cum laude. Gabrielle Anna Vogelstein. Jonathan Randolph Waters. Victoria Page Westrup. Yobin Komalacho Weldy. Madeline Wright. Ormela Isaias Wergesa. Caitlin Suzanne Young, cum laude. Alfred Douglas Younger. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Randolph College class of 2022. It is now my pleasure to present the Maud Huff Fife Award. The Maud Huff Fife Award is given each year to the student whose grade point average is the highest in the senior class. The award is named for a graduate of the class of 1918. While at Randolph-Macon Women's College, Maud Huff Fife was the senior assistant of the Tatler, a member of the Franklin Literary Society, the Quill Drivers, and the Sigma Kappa sorority. It is in her spirit, her leadership, and her affection for the college that we commemorate when we honor the recipient of the Maud Huff Fife Award. The recipient of this year's award holds a mathematically uncontestable grade point average and a vibrant commitment to learning and performance. She has excelled both in classics and in theater arts majors, In the words of her classics advisor, Professor Amy Cohen, which only a truly excellent teacher can say of an equally excellent student, quote, "She is the kind of student you want to make sure the class is good enough for. Will the assignments challenge her? Will I be prepared enough to keep up with her?" Her theater arts advisor, Professor Stephanie Earle, describes her as bringing passion, intelligence, and sensitivity to everything she does. Be it in her roles as Farrah the Fairy in She Kills Monsters, or Doreen, AKA the Squirrel Girl in the Marvel plays, as stage manager, and most decidedly in her thoughtful, creative, and open-minded classwork. In addition to the Maud Huff Fife, she also received the Exemplary Classic Student Award and the Academic Achievement in Theater Award at this year's awards ceremony. As she comes to the platform, please help me congratulate this year's Maud Huff Fife Award recipient, Sabina Sabat.
Before we go any further in the program, I need to take the time to acknowledge that our graduates did not get to this point in their academic careers without love and support from those around them. In particular, I would like to ask that the parents, guardians, spouses, and significant others of our graduates please stand so that our graduates might offer you their thanks. Additionally, the heart of any college is its faculty. Randolph is continually recognized as having some of the very best faculty in the country. Graduates, would you please join me in thanking the women and men who have so ably taught you and imparted knowledge to you along your journey? I would also like to make a special announcement. The Board of Trustees voted to grant emeriti status to a retiring professor. We believe commencement is the most fitting occasion to recognize and acknowledge this honor and this important member of our community. Please join me in congratulating Professor Susan Stevens. We're grateful and appreciative for all that Professor Stevens has done for our students and for the college. Now it is my pleasure to introduce the student government president. Jalen Evans is one of those students who seems to be involved in just about everything, so much so that you wonder how she had any time to sleep. Originally from Chicago, she's earning her Bachelor of Arts today in Political Science with honors and with a minor in Chinese Studies. While her academics are stellar, it is the full breadth of experience she has acquired during her time at Randolph that really stands out and will serve her well later in life. In addition to serving as student government president, she's been a writing tutor, a researcher for the political science department, a resident assistant, and an intern with the American Association of People with Disabilities. She's been active in theater, appeared in the Greek play, and took advantage of a study abroad opportunity in the Beijing Language and Culture University. Her list of accolades is long and varied, including this year's Student of the Year Award and Outstanding Senior in Political Science or Global Studies Award. Previously, she earned the Sarah I. Davis Writing Award, the First Year Writing Award, and was a recipient of the Chinese Government Scholarship. She was inducted into Phi Beta Kappa, Omicron Delta Kappa, and Pi Sigma Alpha, and was consistently on the Dean's List. All of us of Randolph are proud of you, Jaylyn, and thankful for the time and energy you have invested in our community, especially during the fractured time of COVID. We know you will go on to do great things. Please join me in welcoming the President of Student Government, Jaylyn Evans.
Thank you, President Bateman. Before I begin my speech, I'd like for us to have a moment of silence for Devin Milam and our loved ones who supported us during our time here but passed on before they were able to see this day. Thank you. My name is Jaylyn Evans, and I have had the honor of serving as student government president this year. So I will be offering reflections on behalf of the class of 2022. To our parents and loved ones, thank you does not even begin to cover it. You aided us throughout our 4 years here, helping us deal with problems from homesickness to COVID-19. When we first stepped behind the red brick wall, no one could have foreseen the adjustments ahead of us. From COVID-19 to take two, but you all stood strong for us to lean on. It takes a village to raise a child, so thank you for being our village. To the faculty, we couldn't be here without you. Your wealth of knowledge and love of teaching has touched every one of us here and guided us to this point. At the end of every philosophy of law class this session, Dr. Visera would always say, and remember, you all are my favorites, and I love you. Even if you all never said it directly, we felt it when you invited us to dinner at your homes or talked to us for hours about anything related to class or not. So to echo Dr. Visera's sentiments, you all are our favorites, and we love you. To the staff and administration, I know we did not make your jobs easy, but that's part of the fun. We challenge your decisions, ask for late night assistance, and then sometimes ignored that advice, but it has all turned us into the phenomenal class that you see before you. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to make real change in the lives of our fellow students and the future of the college. This is not a goodbye, rather a please respond to our transcript requests quickly. To the world at large, we're here. It's been a long 4 years, the majority of them in uncertain times. We spent this period of struggle, learning, and becoming stronger with each failure that came our way. We are ready to create and live the life more abundant. I'd like to leave everyone with some words from the famed poet Maya Angelou. My mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive, and to do so with some passion, some compassion, some humor, and some style. From the class of 2022, with style, Vita Abundantior. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaylyn, and congratulations. Congratulations, class of 2022. As you know, like you, this is the end of my career at Randolph College, and so I feel a special bond to you. To quote from Professor Montas, I feel the poignant kind of nostalgia one feels for the present as we notice it slipping away. You, class of 2022, manifest in yourselves the liberal education which your faculty, staff, and administration are committed to giving to you. As Professor Montaz said to you, you have been given the skills of freedom. You begin after today to use those skills in a new way to continue to educate yourselves and to continue to learn and discern what it means to be a citizen in a democratic society. As Professor Montaz said, those skills have never been more in need, more urgently in need than they are today. Might I simply think of the conflicts that you will face, the questions that will be generated for you from the balance between your own pursuit of your self-interest and your place as a part of an interdependent world community. COVID, of course, illustrated some of the most basic questions we must ask ourselves in addressing things such as whether we need to wear masks, whether we need to mandate vaccines. We ask the fundamental questions of the balance between individual freedom and the needs of a free society. Likewise, as you know, sadly, you will continue to face horrific questions of the presence of gun violence in our society. What do we need to do to provide people with their constitutionally guaranteed rights while protecting ourselves from gun violence? Voting. It is at the basis of your civic lives today that the right to vote is in question. Who has the right to vote? Who will be allowed to cast their vote? Once the vote is cast, whose votes are allowed to count? These problems you will not escape, nor as we look abroad and consider the invasion in the Ukraine, can we take it for granted that our freedom will always be ours, unchallenged. You face an unprecedented world. Fortunately, you have been given the skills of freedom. We need your contribution. We need the work you will do as citizens in this world. I thank you for these 4 years. I wish you good luck and Godspeed. Thank you. Will you now please stand and join us in singing the college song and remain standing for the recessional.